The second anniversary of the handshake is here with us. Specifically on the 9th of March, which is Monday, we celebrate that second anniversary. We remind ourselves of that Friday when Uhuru and Raila shook hands. It reminds us of that single action that saved this country from what looked like obvious destruction. The country was so polarized, the tension so high, that it would have taken the most optimistic of us to see any hope for the country. And for that reason, as we celebrate this second anniversary, we salute those two men. But that is also something that reminds us that whereas we have enjoyed the peace that came with the handshake, the tranquility, normalcy, there have also been things that have come with the BBI and the handshake that we must take care of. Right from the onset, I did argue and advise the principals that it was important to bring everybody on board. Whereas we understood why only the two of them would meet, it was important for them to bring on board all other major players. I also did advise that it would be very, very critical and important for William Samoei Ruto to be brought on board. For it appeared from the word go that this handshake smelled doom for William Ruto. Indeed, up to that day of 9th of March 2018, William Ruto had all been assured of a clear sail to the State House come 2022. So he was the most hit, and I prayed and beseeched Raila and Uhuru to bring him on board. A lot has happened since then that will tend to vindicate me. A lot has happened. My fears are growing by the day. A measure of violence, direct confrontation is beginning to creep in, with the BBI rallies beginning from Kitui, then Meru, and most recently, actually yesterday, from where I stand today, there was physical confrontation between the followers of Governor Mwangiri of Murang'a and those of Mheshimiwa Alice Wahome Kandara, in the presence of none other than the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto. It is obvious this was a Tanga versus a Kieleweke conflict. Now, I'm worried that this thing could get worse. I'm worried it could get worse because when you see what's going on, there's a lot of desperation from the side of William Samoei Ruto. He himself has taken to Twitter. I'm worried it could get worse. And I just pray that the death of the young man, Sergeant Kenei, has nothing to do with the succession politics, has nothing to do with BBI and the handshake. Because if that were to be the case, it will be indeed sad. No man should want power so bad that he would kill another man to get that power. I pray we do not get to a point where a leader in this country would see that the only way they will get to power is to take the life of another human being. It's not completely worth it. I remember the words of Goodluck Jonathan when he lost the Nigerian election. He said there's a lot he could have done to retain the power of presidency. But from his own mouth, he said the presidency was not that important that a Nigerian life would be lost for it. I hope we are not getting there. But the unescapable truth is that this thing could get ugly. It could get ugly through the desperation from the side of William Ruto. William Ruto has been isolated. And that's why I still pray that there's still room for the main players in this country to sit on a round table and strike a deal. A deal that includes William Ruto, Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo, Joe, Oparanya, and the rest of those people, including Wetangula, who are our leaders in this country. For now, those are our leaders, and a few more that I have not mentioned. It is important because William Ruto has been pushed to the wall. He has been surrounded. The only consolation for William Ruto is that although the major players in this country are with the BBI, he has the ground. Indeed, he has the ground. We saw in Meru. We have seen in Central. Yes, he has the ground, but the ground is not a sure bet, to use the words of Gideon Moy. The ground is not a sure bet. What has happened recently in America should tell you that. In the fight for the Democratic Party ticket, Joe Biden beat Bernie Sanders, the favorite, because Joe Biden took and ran away with the black voters during the Super Tuesday. Now you ask yourself, and this is where the ground comes in, between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, whose policies offer hope to black Americans? Who would black Americans choose between Biden and Bernie Sanders if the issues were important? If the ground was an intelligent, sure bet? Your guess is as good as mine. It's only Bernie Sanders who raises the issues, who brings out policies that will benefit the poor, the blacks, the Hispanics, and all those who have been disadvantaged in America because of historical injustice. Yet, the ground, the black, gave Joe Biden the day. Another example that may remind William Samoei Ruto. When William Samoei Ruto led the No team, the team to campaign against the Constitution of Kenya 2010, during the referendum, the church was with him. The church was with William Samoei Ruto in the No team because some of the issues brought into our constitution by civil society, borrowed from South Africa and elsewhere, and Europe, some of these issues were not good, including allowing for abortion. Let nobody tell me that abortion is not legalized in this country. Nobody prevents abortion. If you look at the way it is provided for in the Constitution, it leaves room for anybody to practice abortion in this country. Same-sex marriage, it is provided for. That every man has a right to marry another man. No, every man has a right to marry a person of the opposite sex. But you see, rights can be enjoyed, or I can forego my right. If you say every prisoner, for example, that every prisoner has the right to 4 hours of sunshine per day, a prisoner could go out for only 1 hour, or choose not to enjoy that right. So if you wanted to outlaw that, there will be a way English would provide it. So there were so many provisions in that constitution that didn't go well with the church. So the church supported William Samoei Ruto. The question is this: did Kenyans join the church? Did Christians join the church in supporting Ruto in his no campaign? The answer is no, because there's only one demographic in this country, and that demographic is tribe. So much as Ruto may be enjoying the ground, when the time comes, when the chips are down, Kenyans will go back to their tribe and they will vote with their leaders. And that's what I'm saying, that desperation could lead to bad things. They will vote with their tribes, and when that happens, let's start. Coastal leaders are Amason Kingi, Jaffa Kingi, and Sultan Joho. They are in BBI. Who else remains? Muvuria has gone quiet. There's no other leader. Go to Kambani. Kalonzo Musyoka, Professor Kibuda Kibwana, Governor Charity Ngilu, Senator Mtula Kilonzo Jr., Governor Alfred Mutua, settled. Recently in Meru, all the 11 counties of Mount Kenya were in Meru. All were BBI. All the governors were BBI. All the captains of industry in that area are BBI. All the leaders are BBI, leaving the ground for William Ruto. That ground that I'm saying is not safe. Go to Western. And indeed, the Western rally, it was organized in such a way, it sent a message that had not been sent before, that if you are not with BBI, so Francis Atwoli moved to the ground. For a whole week, I gather, he organized the Kakamega rally, the Buhungu rally, organized in such a way, at the last moment, those who had been toying around with the idea of Mumia's rally to counter the Buhungu rally realized it was a lost cause. Although Khalwale tried, but it was a lost cause. Those like Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula, who had been dilly-dallying and kind of not quite sure, realized if you miss this Buhungu rally, you are completely out. And therefore, during the Buhungu rally, the entire Mlembe nation was right there at Buhungu rally, leaving anybody who was not with that BBI meeting completely an outcast, an irrelevant irritant. And that's where you would place Khalwale and a few of the Didmas Barazas. They are playing around the field when the men are in the field playing. So this situation obtains almost throughout the country except for Rift Valley. And that's why I had been advising the Rift Valley players, do not stop Raila or anybody else from coming to Eldoret. You have now caused that meeting to be cancelled. And you have kind of boycotted participating in the preliminaries for the Nakuru rally. What message are you sending? You are sending that you are only kings in Rift Valley. Kenya has 8 regions. If you remain kings only in Rift Valley, you send the psychological message to your followers or would-be followers that you are useless, you will not go far. So the point I'm trying to make is this. Whereas the ground is with Ruto in many parts of this country, that ground is not a sure bet, because our politics is so tribal that at the right moment, all these people who are on the ground will begin to have excuses and they will follow their leaders. Those on the mountain, I've said repeatedly, will all face Mount Kenya with Uhuru Kenyatta. So I'm saying we have to play our politics with that in mind, knowing that if we are pushing William Ruto to the wall, and indeed is already on the wall, he could come out fighting. Not fighting physically, but some of these ugly things we are beginning to see. We even begin to see him on Twitter. We begin to see the things that happen like in Murang'a where he was. We are talking about the Meru meeting, the Kitui meeting. These are ugly confrontations. These are ugly things we as a people want to avoid so that we reap the full benefits of the handshake and BBI. Because I believe BBI can help us sort out some of the problems that have bedeviled us in this country. BBI can help us sort the politics of this country so that all the other things will fall in place. And for that to happen, I beseech our leaders. I must end this morning by besieging Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. Please go back and take the hand of your younger brother, William Ruto, and work with him. Because this kind of thing will not work, because he's not going anywhere. And the moment he realizes that, then we'll begin to see a few noises here and there, which we want to avoid. We want to move into 2022 as peaceful Kenyans, happy people, one big family that is able to sort out its problems for the prosperity of this country. And that is possible if we work as a team. And I'm also advising William Samoei Ruto, very finally, if such a demands are made on you, have been made on you and you have refused, if that gesture comes from Raila and your boss, Uhuru Kenyatta, if they come to you and tell you, William Samoei Ruto, let us work together, even if you may not become the president, you may become one of these other things. Please listen to them. Do not listen to those who tell you that you are unassailable. Do not for a moment listen to anybody who lies to you that you'll win 2022. I would wish you win because you are a good guy. But the truth is, Kenyan politics is tribal. When the time comes, you remain with a few people in a corner as you watch in disbelief as all those people from the Mount region toe the line and face the mountain with Uhuru Kenyatta. You will remain with Boni Khalwale somewhere in some corner as all the Luyas follow Paranya, Wetangula, Mudavadi, Atwoli, and the rest into the BBI debe. My friend, don't wait for that time. So for all of you leaders, my advice to you is, please sit down and talk in the interest of this country, in the interest of our children.